Yo, what's up, guys? Today we're going to be reacting to the best mythics, and Cypher PK made this. Shout out Cypher PK. He already makes enough money, but if you shout me out, please, Cypher.
There is 150. Today,
Fuck up.
I want to rank every single mythic that ever existed in Fortnite.
Alright, let me see if you're valid. You're probably not.
To the best mythics of all.
Shush.
And you might be wondering, how am I going to do this? Because there is 150.
Your fucking
mythics.
team.
So let's just start with the worst ones ever, and we'll work our way to the best. At number 150,
damn,
the cardboard box. I chose this as the worst mythic of all.
I mean, there's
time.
nothing
The
to
reality
do.
is, this mythic was pretty useless, and the fact that it was a mythic rarity item to begin with.
That was a mythic.
These things rarely ever work. People always knew you were hiding in them because there was no other reason for the boxes to be there. This was a green item that got reskinned into a mythic item for whatever reason. This should have never been a mythic to begin with. But now we move on to number 114.
Damn.
The Spire Jump Boots.
What's wrong with those?
This was hated for a lot of things, but the Spire Jump Boots is definitely up there as such wasted potential. It sounds like a cool idea, but it was executed so poorly. You had to jump 3 times for some reason just so that you could glide or redeploy. And the thing is, to even get these, you didn't just find them in some mythic chests or kill a boss. You had to, first thing, eliminate a Spire Guardian at a Guardian Tower. They dropped some random stone. You had to take it to the center of the map.
That's
and
doing
then you
too
got
much.
Your useless jumping boots. Doing all of that was not worth it. And after like the first week of the season, I did not see anybody using these mythics because it was such a pain to get, and they were so useless. And now at number 113, this one was painful. The Paper Bomb Kunai. I'm a huge fan of Naruto.
That's good.
When I heard there was a Naruto collab, I was excited. And then there was going to be a mythic item. I was like, what are we going to get? The Rasengan, Shadow Clone Jutsu, Shidori, Fire Style, Fireball Jutsu. There's so many possibilities. They gave us the Kunai, and this could have been a lot cooler, right? Maybe you could teleport with them. Maybe they actually did some damage. This thing only did 35 damage, and there was like an
I thought it did more
to it as well. It wasn't that useful. It wasn't even good at breaking builds, and you could only carry up to 6 of them. I'm so disappointed as a Naruto fan. Honestly, like, this is heartbreaking, especially after seeing what the other animes got for their mythics. But we got to talk about number 112, the Diamond's Thermal DMR. The DMRs are usually cheeks, but this one just took it a step above. People said it was maybe okay if you had certain augments that made it better, but guys, this thing did 40 body shot and 70 headshot. The recoil on this was terrible. The thermal part never made any sense to me. Like, it didn't actually help, which is why this DMR absolutely sucks. Next up, we have the Cloak Gauntlets and Predator's Cloaking Device. Now,
I thought that was good.
Make the current invisibility
so far
good.
Shut the fuck up for a minute. So far, his tier list is pretty valid.
Worse than what we currently have this season. It would only last up to 30 seconds, and people could still see you like clear as day. Nobody picked these up. They had an awkward animation just to activate them. This was a death sentence. Trying to use this around anybody, you were just gonna get pumped. And after that, we have to go to the Zig and Choppy's.
Nah, that was good, bro. What you talking about?
And it looked pretty cool, but the laser only did 12 damage per hit. And you could only shoot it for a few seconds. Full health, full shield with this before it overheated.
I thought it was good.
The worst part is you had to charge up the attack a little bit, so you couldn't instantly use it, which made it feel even worse. And next up, Deadpool makes the list with the mythic.
I don't remember those
cannons. You see, the idea of this item was very cool. Mythic dual wield hand cannons that would heal you every time you did damage. But the issue was that, one, it barely did any damage. 21 damage. And guess what? You would only get 3 health for every shot you hit. I'm talking 3. Yes, just 3. It was unnoticeable that you were actually getting healed. Plus, you had to fight Deadpool at the yacht on the corner.
He was hard.
It was just never worth it. And they were inaccurate. They didn't have first shot accuracy. They didn't do damage, and they barely healed you. And next up, we have another reskinned item that somehow became a mythic. The Mandalorian Jet.
That was trash.
I'm really excited. Next up, we have the Spire's Assassin Recycler. Now, the thing is, Recycler was kind of useless, and the mythic mythic version only did a little bit more damage, but was also pretty much useless. The only thing we got out of this was a really funny Nick A30 video / clip, but he wasn't even using the mythic version, so we didn't really get much out of this anyways. So those were the 10 worst mythics, and we could be here for 2+ hours because there's 115 total mythics. So I'm actually going to speed through the bad to mid mythics and work our way to the top 20 mythics of all time. Because a lot of these mythics did a little bit more damage. In the top 40, you'll have
I never saw that gun
like
before.
the mythic goldfish, which was extremely rare, but now that we actually can use it and reload, we know that it's not that good. It's pretty situational. But now we work our way to the top 20 mythics of all time, and I think we cooked with this list. So at number 20, we have a new mythic that just got added this season, the War Machine's Arsenal.
Yeah.
Now, it might be too soon to call it, but
bro, they're overpowered as hell.
Serious damage.
Like, it just makes me wanna
your back and
see this fucking plate.
Nerf this a little bit more. They already nerfed it once. They might nerf it more, but I'm judging this based off of what I played in the first week of the season. It's very
This plate
strong.
just got out of surgery.
Now at number 19 and 18, also recent mythics, waterbending and airbending. When it first came out, I'm not gonna lie, I thought waterbending was kind of nuts, but it actually does some pretty decent damage, especially after they buffed the fire rate and
smile
22 to 24 and gave it a bigger headshot multiplier. I knew it was good when the pro players started using waterbending in the FNCS and cash cups. And then of course, airbending was one of the best rotation items of the season, and just in general, one of the best rotation items ever, being really good for mobility. Both of these are up there. And by the way, if you're wondering where earth and firebending is, they're really down the list because they were not that good. At number 17, we have the Machinist Combat Assault Rifle. The Combat Assault Rifle is one of my favorite weapons. The mythic version with a sight on it, 220 DPS,
Damn.
25 body shot, 38 headshot damage. This thing was extremely accurate. It had a really good fire rate, could put a lot of pressure on people. It was one of the best mythic ARs ever. At number 16, we have the Ageless Champion Shockwave
That was
Hammer.
bomb.
Ability, and the thing is, the regular Shockwave Hammer actually got nerfed from 4 charges to 3, but this one stayed at 5 charges, so it had all the regular Shockwave Hammer users beat. It also did pretty decent damage. It could be used offensively and defensively, and is regarded as one of the best mobility items to ever come to Fortnite. Now we go to the top 15. We have the Cerberus Gatekeeper Shotgun.
I thought that was good. Actually, no, trash.
Notice, but don't worry, there's some OG ones that top the list. This one,
let me guess, drum gun.
Because you don't even have to think to make the Cerberus Gatekeeper shotgun kill somebody.
Yeah, drum gun.
Every shot did at least 100 damage. The only downside was that it had 3 shots, but the reload time was extremely
fucked me
fast
over.
with the quick reload attachment it came with. I do think that this gun would have been higher on the list if it had the drum mag instead of the reload, but this thing was so good. It had Peterbot dominating other pros during the
Fuck Peterbot, don't take showers, look like a fucking monkey.
14 to 13, probably one of my favorite mobility items ever, the Spider-Man and Spider-Verse.
They were good.
They were extremely useful. They had 80 charges, so you never really ran out. And the cooldown, you know, was pretty manageable. It was short if you only used it a few times, and it was 15 seconds at max if you were swinging around the entire time. It prevented fall damage as long as you didn't get shot out, and it allowed you to pull off some crazy plays. And overall, just the way this mythic was just implemented, the way it was coded, made some actual Spider-Man games seem like ripoffs. At number 12, we have a auto shotgun, the Oscar's Frenzy auto shotgun. I'm not gonna lie, the Frenzy auto shotgun pretty much ruined Chapter 5 Season 1 for me. It was my worst offender, and it got me killed the most. But the Oscar's Frenzy
bro, I didn't get that fucking scar. I didn't get that style of Peter Griffin.
Reload. They ended up nerfing
Fuck me.
And clicks ended up
actually
during his FNCS run. At number 11, we have another mobility item, the ODM gear. This was a part of the Attack on Titan collaboration.
I have never seen that.
The skill ceiling on this was extremely high. The Spider-Man mythics were easy to use. This thing was kind of hard to use, but if you could master it, your movement was just super fast, and it was really good offensively. You could use it to jump like 70 damage per hit, and it also had 80 charges like the Spider-Man mythic, so you could use it the entire game. And in the same season, we have number 10, the Mythic Havoc shotgun. The thing about this shotgun is it's kind of like the OG Chapter 1 pump. This thing did 250 headshot damage. It could one pump somebody in 0 build, even if they had overshield, full health, and full shield. And its body shot damage was also extremely high, over 115 body shots. So no matter where you shot somebody, they were either going to be one shot or dead. They ended up nerfing the damage, but it would still hit for 210 max headshot, which no other pump at the time could hit over 200. At number 9 and 8, we're going back to chapter 2.
Drum gun. I think drum gun should be chapter.
But you've been for years.
Probably first
Don't
place.
check out until you've given.
Disguise, assault rifle, and grappler. The mythic version of the Scar. 30.
Bro, I can't wait to go back to chapter 2. Sign me up.
122 DPS, and it had a faster fire rate than a regular Scar. It felt really good, especially for chapter 2, and you had the grappler, which never ran out of uses and gave you infinite mobility the entire game. But it does get outshined in the same season by number 7, the Midas drum gun. Now,
Wow.
the Midas drum gun is not that strong. I use it in creative all the time. It's pretty weak. That is not the Midas drum gun. Even though it has the same name, Epic has nerfed this gun like 6 different times since its release. When it first came out, 250 DPS. This thing was extremely accurate. Any controller player
Thought it'd be number 1.
turned into Thanos pretty much. 25 body shot, 50 headshot, a magazine size of 40, so you could constantly put pressure on people and just wipe player after player. Later on, we got number 6. In Chapter 2, Season 6, we were blessed or cursed with the Spire Assassin's Primal Shotgun. Now, the Primal Shotguns were really strong, but the Mythic Primal Shotgun, this thing did 211 DPS. It would shoot in bursts of 2. You didn't have to wait long before you could shoot again. It was like a drum gun on steroids. It was extremely broken, especially in the Primal meta when there weren't that many good weapons. Imagine running up to somebody with this gun while they still had a makeshift shotgun in their hand. And I guess Chapter 2 was the season of broken mythics, because at number 5, we have the Iron Man Unibeam, which might come back this season. It shot through walls and did 90 damage. And the thing is, it had pretty much infinite range. If you could see somebody, you were going to hit them with this thing from across the map. The charge didn't take long, so you weren't really at risk of getting headshot sniped. And this thing just lets you open up any fight with a free 90 damage. And now we go to number 4.
Number 4.
Infinity Blade. This thing caused
People hate that.
havoc, especially for the Chapter 1 players. One of our first mythic weapons, and it would do 75 damage per swing, and it had an alternate leap attack which would break all.
People hated that, bro.
It didn't just do that. It turned you into a mini boss by giving you 200 health and 200 shield, so you were really hard to kill. On top of that, you would gain
I remember that.
4 shield per second that you were holding the sword, and anytime you got an elimination, you would get 50 siphon. This mythic was so strong, Epic eventually apologized for how strong it was and severely nerfed it. It was introduced in Chapter 1, Season 7, right around the time of the Winter Royale, and they did not remove this before the tournament. And we had crazy clips like this.
Got more elims too from the fall damage.
Gonna get another one here. He's gonna be trapped inside of the storm, though.
Doesn't matter. He can.
Oh my God!
He wants to be right now.
Shit.
Elimination. He's on a killing spree. Oh my word!
And now we go to number 3, the
Number
Foundation
3.
K7.
Damn.
Most broken mythics of all time. It's the rarest drop in Fortnite Reload. 209 DPS, 25 body shot, and 38 headshot damage. But what you're overlooking is that this was a first-person reticle. The first time we had a first-person reticle in Fortnite. And when it came out, it had virtually no recoil. And even after they nerfed it, it still pretty much had no recoil. If someone wasn't paying attention, they were going from 200 to 0 in a split second from across the map. But at number 2, we have the actual best assault rifle in Fortnite. The overclocked pulse.
That gun's trash, bro.
Top the Mythic Foundation's MK7, but this one was absolutely broken. It was only obtainable by capturing the mid-game island that would spawn in. Now, it had a slower fire rate when you aim down sight, but would still chunk for a ton of damage. But the broken part about this was you could hip fire this gun and shoot extremely fast and have a 237 DPS. That's like the Midas drum gun in terms of damage. But
What's number 1, bud?
and can be used from long range. This thing shredded through people and shredded through builds and hopes and dreams. So you're probably wondering, what is number
Yes.
1? What is the most
What could it be?
mythic item that you could use to win a game of Fortnite? And you know, I had to give it to the most iconic mythic ever
is it?
added to Fortnite. At number 1, we have the Infinity Gauntlet. If you guys don't remember,
Oh yeah! That's not number one,
to
no.
Thanos, you had 4 different abilities.
That's not number one. That's not number one. Well, guys, it's the end of the video. I gotta go make maybe like 2 more videos. So, peace out, love, share.